Hello, I'm Dr. Tom, and I'd like to welcome you to this Friday's update. Yes, the final Friday update for 2018. And I invite you to reflect some on what's happened in the past year, because it has been the distinct honor and pleasure for Dr. Ted and Blaine and I to be able to be with you in Gen this year, to be able to message to you, to allow us to share ways in which improvement can grow inside this club for this year. For that means that there are personal aspects of who you are and professional aspects of who you are. On the personal category, just as an example, for me, one of my goals for 2018 was to be a better husband. It was to be a better father, to be a better grandfather, a grandparent, to be a better uncle. You see, to be a better partner. Those were things that were important to me, and those were all things that I worked on this year. And I made strides in each of those categories. What were your categories? Some can be similar, some may be very different. The important part is identify the categories, identify the areas in which you were looking for improvement, and carry that into 2019, because it's coming very quickly. On the professional side of things, I also look for improvement in businesses, because I'm involved in multiple businesses. Improvement of being a partner. Again, see, it kind of carries over and overlaps. To become a better partner, to communicate better, to begin to look down the road and solve situations, prevent situations, address situations before they become bigger than they need to be. It's a matter of planning. It's a matter of building your foundation. It's a matter of you putting yourself in your mental capacity, to prepare for your future. That's what we're looking for in 2019. We're happy with a lot of things that happened in 2018. The growth, the record months that we had, the attendees that we had at major events. All of those things are critically important to you and to this club. We talked about assessing ourselves, at looking back at 2018, and I want you to do this in your business life as well. You heard some messaging last week from Bryan Dodge about family business. And I want you to understand that it's much bigger, that it doesn't just apply to a, quote, family business, where it's a family business that's passed down from generation to generation. It's about family business, and it's about your business being your family and becoming your family. And I so look forward to hearing the information that he has in his new book that he will be sharing with us in Punta Cana, for those of you that missed last week. That information, no matter how large of a business you're involved with, or if it's just your personal business, that's business as well. It could be a side business. There are tips and things that you can do. You don't have to recreate the wheel in business, and you don't have to recreate the wheel in family. Study what works. Study what's proven over time. Avoid the pitfalls. Set yourself up for the win. We're excited about what's going to happen there. You know, not only that financial fitness aspect of who we are, but we're also going to look in 2019 at physical fitness and nutritional fitness. Are you exercising? Are you eating the right kinds of foods? Are you cutting out some of the bad foods? Are you taking nutritional supplements? Are you meditating? Do you do yoga? Are you using Mary Miller's I Ching system? Are you focused on improving yourself? Are you doing yoga? Are you doing Mortar March? You know, Dr. Ted has done a Mortar March Monday every single Monday this year. Do you realize that's been viewed by tens of thousands of people because it's been shared on Facebook? The same thing can happen in Gen. As you begin to share on Facebook these Friday updates, as you begin to share your personal success stories, maybe it's only viewed by 4 or 5 or 12 or 22 of your friends in that moment. And then they share it with someone and share it with someone, and eventually it reaches thousands of people. How many lives can we touch? How many people can we impact in 2019? I look forward to that year so that we can assess what happened. Pay attention to your financial fitness. Pay attention to your physical fitness as you close out this year. Because if there's one thing we've learned in Gen, it's if you do the right things long enough, great things happen. Do the right things consistently long enough. There are several variations of it. You get the point. Do the things that work over and over and over and over and over until they become second nature to you, until you own them, until you reach a state of knowingness on how you can share your messaging and share the messaging of this club, the messaging of the Success Mastery course with others. Speaking of next year, again, another announcement about what we have coming up in Punta Cana. We're going to have some information from our Global Expansion Director, Lee Kinney. Yes, he'll be there in person to share some plans that we have globally for 2019. How we're going to grow the club, how you can help grow the club, what's working, what's happening, why is it that members are joining from Germany and from France and from Switzerland and from Canada and from the U.S. and multiple countries as well. I don't have time to list them all. Those are just some of the larger numbered countries that we have showing growth because they're implementing some of the things that Lee Kinney's going to talk about. That's what's so critically important about this. When we look at that, when we look at 2019 coming up so that you'll be prepared for that, I also wanted to make a special announcement that on January 6th, on Sunday, January the 6th, we're going to have a New Year's kickoff call. And it'll be at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So be sure and mark that off. It will take less than an hour. Watch the call. Listen to the call, pardon me. Listen to the information as we lay out a plan for what's going to happen in 2019. You know, as we begin to wind down the year end, I think it's important for you to understand a concept that happens across the world, and that is the New Year's resolution. We're going to make a commitment, and I truly desire for you to give it some thought. Don't wait until New Year's Eve to come up with this. Plan. Take a step. You see, one of those goals I talked about becoming a better grandparent, this week we spent some time, Anna and I spent some time with Evelyn, who's now 6. And we were watching Mary Poppins, a movie I hadn't seen in decades. And there was a line in that movie, and watching her get up and dance to the music, and we rolled with laughter. And there was a line that Mary Poppins used in that I felt was so appropriate for messaging this week. And she talked about a concept called a pie crust promise. And maybe you missed it. I didn't remember it from when I'd seen it before, but when I heard it, I thought, a pie crust promise? What could that possibly be? And then, of course, she went on to explain. A pie crust promise is a promise that's easily made and easily broken. Are your New Year's resolutions going to be easily made and easily broken? Are they going to be over by the 2nd or the 5th or the 10th or by February or March? Or are you going to stay committed? Are you going to do the right things long enough to accomplish your New Year's resolution, to accomplish that promise you make to yourself, that contract you make with yourself? Because if who you are, since who you are, is a direct reflection of what you tell yourself and the commitments that you keep with yourself, then you must move away from the pie crust promise. I was excited by that, and I kind of got a chuckle, and I thought, you know, I think that will fit in this Friday's update. I want to share one last thing with you, and that is, on the personal side, if I could show you an example of what I'm talking about when I talk about personal commitments. I make a personal commitment to myself to do something that I've never done before each year. And for me, this year, one of those things, I did several, one of them I'd like to share with you was at the Pat Node retreat that we did this past fall. And in this retreat, in days of setting up, getting ready for the grand finales, which were for us to be able to walk across broken glass and to put an arrow on your throat, push it against the wall until the arrow snaps. Well, I've been involved with that one before. Some of the things we did there, we have done before. Some of them were brand new. This one was brand new for me. walking across glass. And as I sat there on the mat with my fellow gin brothers and sisters, I was sitting next to Blaine. And as we sat there on that mat, they walked in, the Patnode family. What a beautiful family. What an honor it is to have them in this club. As they walked in with this trunk, I thought, well, what's in the trunk? And then they opened the trunk, and as they began to lift out a tarp, I could hear the glass. It was right beside me. I could hear the glass kind of falling down to the center as they picked it up out of the trunk and laid it out on the mats. And then they began to spread out this glass. And as I looked around, you could kind of feel the energy raise, and your heart rate kind of picks up a little bit, and it starts running some programs. You begin to think, that's real glass. I mean, it sounded like glass. As a matter of fact, as they laid it out, this green glass that came from wine bottles, some of which I believe we had utilized and emptied, let them breathe the night before. And as they began to, now I've had relationships with wine bottles in the past, but never quite like this. As they began to lay that out, and some of the pieces were large, and so they were continuing to break them up. Now, this is the sound of breaking glass 3 feet from where you're seated. As a matter of fact, a couple of those pieces flew out when they were getting it arranged and were in front of me. And I picked one up and I looked at it, I said, this is real glass. This is not a game. This is not plastic. And I pitched it back onto the pile and heard it. The sound of glass is the sound of glass. And as we began to start the exercise, as Stefan gave the instruction on what you were to do, you had to go internal. You had to call on some of that foundation, because I've stepped on glass before and cut my foot. I've stepped on sharp rocks before and cut my foot. So I had to overcome those things. I had to put it in a new perspective. I had to put it in a new place. I had to go to a different area of my brain to build the confidence, because Blaine and I were going to go early on. We were going to lead. We were going to walk across the glass to bring comfort to others. Because you can see in a group setting how sometimes people are anxious and they want to get up there and get something over with, and others stay to the back. They want to see if it works. They want to make sure no one gets hurt. All of those things are fine. All of those things are perfect. All of those things are perfect for that person. It's a crowd dynamic. It's part of what happens in gin. Some will lead, some will blaze a trail, and others can follow. Success follows everyone who follows the Success Mastery course. That's the beauty of applying this work. And I will tell you that when I put my first foot down on that glass and I heard the glass beneath my foot break and shift, it was a time for intense focus. And as I then step, you see, sometimes you're putting all of your weight on one foot because you have to pick up a foot to go there for the next step. And Stefan was at the end of the glass. And when I got to Stefan and I put my arm out on my gin brother and lifted my foot to brush the glass off of the bottom of it, and then stepped down and brushed the glass off the other one, we shared a look. We shared a look of knowingness and a look of accomplishment. And it is that feeling that I carry with me. It is that feeling that I accomplished something that I set out to do in 2018. And it is something that we desire and hope for you. It is the desire of Dr. Ted and Blaine and myself and all of your gin staff and all of your gin brothers and sisters that you win. And that you learn to celebrate the wins by doing the right things consistently long enough for you to win. We're so excited about what's coming in 2019. As a matter of fact, I believe that 2019, that your future is so bright that I got to wear shades. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Punta Cana. Yes, your future is so bright, I got to wear shades. I hope you have a happy new year. I'm Dr. Tom. I'll talk to you in 2019.